those emails. This White House is the most technically savvy administration in history. It wants to own your computer when you sign up for Cash for Clunkers. It wants to monitor your browsing habits with computer cookies. It wants you to report your neighbor if you notice anything fishy. Now it wants us to believe that the most recent internet-related story involving third-party healthcare emails is another mistake. The White House is pushing programs and bills down our throats, and it knows exactly how to use the internet as a means to its end. But Americans, like the viewer that provided Glenn Beck with the Cash for Clunkers Own Your Computer story, and some journalists are confronting the government, demanding to know how the White House gains access to the email addresses of millions of Americans. Here's my question. Where is the rest of the media on this story? In Los Angeles is Andrew Breitbart, columnist for the Washington Times and publisher of Breitbart.com and Big Hollywood. Andrew, it's a pleasure. Welcome here.
Thanks for having me, Judge.
So how do you think the White House gets a hold of people's email addresses if the people themselves whose addresses it collects are not emailing the White House?
Well, what people need to understand here is that they're being community organized, and the White House absolutely understands how the internet works. It understands that there are countless blogs, Media Matters, the Daily Costs, which are collecting information and putting out the disinformation. What the White House wants to do is to create a hierarchy of who its enemies are, and every week or periodically they meet with the Netroots, and the Netroots acts as an action gang that can go out there and attack the enemies of the president and attack the enemies, the people who would attack his plan. So it is vital for this White House to find out who its enemies are, and then to sick its gang of Netroots people on the American people.
I remember President Richard Nixon forming an enemies list about which he boasted to David Frost after he had resigned the presidency. And I also remember the Congress and President Ford signing the Privacy Act shortly after Richard Nixon left office, which made the president or anyone in his name, made it unlawful for the president or anyone in his name to compile an enemies list. Does this, do these folks that are doing this care about the law? Does the president know what they're doing in the name of the most powerful entity on the planet, the White House?
Well, there's plausible deniability here. You're not going to find Rahm Emanuel in an air conditioning duct going into the RNC. What you have here is these people compiling the information, feeding the information to the Netroots people. The day that it was found out that the town halls were being infested with people who wanted to raise their hands and ask their representatives to read the bill, the SEIU found itself down there confronting the people who would ask the questions of the representatives. This is what community organizing is. They have complete plausible deniability here, and it's absolutely a brilliant scheme. And if it wasn't nefarious, why did they shut down the operation? Why is that website now down?
Right, and why are they saying that they really don't know where the email addresses came from, or how some of my colleagues here at Fox News ended up on that address?
Can I make one point here as well? A few weeks ago, the Justice Department refused to indict and to prosecute these two thugs, these two Black Panthers who, outside of a polling place, were standing there armed.
Right.
That sends a direct message to the Netroots people out there. Don't worry, this administration has our back. Those people that would community organize on behalf of the president and his initiatives will be protected.
All right, Andrew, it's very key, the story you just mentioned, because there's a thread between the failure to prosecute those goons in Philadelphia and what the White House is doing now. And the word is intimidation. I mean, the Supreme Court of the United States has ruled countless times freedom of speech requires breathing room, because sometimes what you say enlightens people, sometimes what you say offends people. So the government is not allowed to be in your face before you say it. Question, you're a journalist. Would the average person, not you or me, but the average person who's about to criticize the president think twice if they feared their name would end up on an enemies list?
Or even worse than that, that if they were to show their face at a Democratic gathering and ask a question of their elected representative or hand out a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, like black conservative activist Kenneth Gladney did, that this person is going to have somebody who supports the president violently accost the person and actually use the N-word against the person, intimidating them into silence. The thing is, people are starting to realize that Barack Obama has two tricks. His administration has two tricks. He's mellifluous, he speaks well, and he uses the teleprompter, and on his behalf, he has people that intimidate and community organize. That's it. He has no other trick.
Before I let you go, with the exception of us, is anybody in the media talking about this?
They're going to be forced to, and I would say that the media needs to start investigating the original community organizers, Acorn, to see what these people are up to with the billions of dollars of stimulus that have been directed to them.
Got it. Andrew Breitbart, thanks for joining us.